All right, here we go. Aries Spears, welcome back to Vlad TV.
How many times is this now?
Like 100. Like 100 times. Give or take. Give or take. Well, you've been vocal about this.
I think I already know what you're going to start with.
Yep.
LeBron?
That's right.
Stephen A?
That's right.
Yeah.
We've been hanging out too much. Look at this.
Yeah. I just posted this yesterday.
Right.
Or the day before, whatever.
Well, go ahead and give your take.
I think LeBron is a hypocrite because while, as I said in my post for context, I know Stephen A. Smith said, LeBron approached me as a father and not a basketball player.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I kind of felt like Stephen A. backpedaled a little bit, or for lack of better words, maybe got a little shook. Because my whole thing was, LeBron's being a hypocrite because back when he first came in the league, I think they were playing the Boston Celtics in Cleveland. And LeBron got into a skirmish with some of the other players. And his mother jumped up and was ready to do battle. And he said, sit your ass down. Because it's like, look, man, I'm a grown man in a grown man's league, playing a professional sport as a professional player. We don't need to put the message out there that my mommy comes to my rescue. That's a bad look. So cut to, here we are, Bronny James is being critiqued by Stephen A., who is doing his job. He is paid to critique basketball and the players within the game. So he was critiquing Bronny, and of course we all know that LeBron approached him and in so many words was like, keep your son's name out your mouth, and if you want to come after somebody, come after me, yada, yada, yada. And my whole thing is, look, man, just like you told your mother to sit her ass down, you need to sit your ass down because Bronny is in the league because of you. He's a grown man playing amongst grown men in a professional sport, which means he is open to criticism. And for all the people that hit me up and was like, nah, man, it's different because as a father, your son and your kid. Listen, I understand maternal instincts kick in, but nonetheless, we are talking about pros now. It'd be different if he'd have said something about Bronny, about his personal life, or he'd have came to interrupted their Sunday night dinner at the house and said some shit. He did what he did what he is paid to do as a professional analyst. He critiqued somebody deserving of worthy of being critiqued, deserving of being critiqued, because Bronny got a spot that, let's be honest, probably deserved to go to somebody else who's putting up better numbers. Nepotism. So Bron has saved his son twice now. First he got him in the league, and now he's rescuing him from the criticism. And that's bullshit. And for all the people that, of course, because I heard it, I read it, man, you just don't like Bron because Michael Jordan and blah, 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 blah. They ain't got nothing to do with this. I don't care who the fuck it is. You can't say on one end, mom, sit your ass down, but then you don't have to sit your ass down when, you're in a league and, you a man and you know what I'm saying? You here now. It comes with it. Criticism and skirmishes come with the game.
I mean, what is Bronny's position right now with the Lakers? Is he actually on the team or the G League?
I thought it was a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, I thought it was the G League.
Yeah.
So he's
obviously
he's not really on the team.
Well, he was at first,
yeah,
but he couldn't cut it.
Right. So
they put him in the G League.
Right. Yeah. So he is a professional athlete.
Yep.
A public figure now.
Yep.
I can imagine if Stephen A. Smith bashed his daughter. That's like, okay, come on.
Yeah, that has nothing to do. That wouldn't have anything.
What does this little girl got to do with anything? Like, I would have ran up on him too.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, your oldest son is now on the Lakers. He's now a public figure, son or not.
And criticism comes with it.
You get criticized. I get criticized. Man. LeBron gets criticized. But when his son gets criticized, oh, you can't do that.
Right. And then some of the other talking points were, well, he don't go after any of the other offspring of people in the NBA. Well, they ain't shitting the court up like Bronny. Scottie Pippen's son, Gary Payton's son, they not shitting the court up. Manute Bol's son, they don't stink like Bronny. Bronny stinks.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Steven's response, and he said something interesting, which I never really realized before, was that there's never been a superstar basketball player who had a son who became a superstar basketball player. Now, a lot of kids do enter the NBA, but they're usually mid to low tier.
Right. And they don't, they're not, the organization, their hand is not being forced by their daddy. You know what I mean? So it's like, LeBron, if you're going to go down this road and you're going to open these doors, then, you got to take what come with it, man. He put a target on his son's back. Yeah.
I agree. And I think Stephen A. Smith just got shook. And it's funny because I've told the story before. My last interaction with Stephen A. Smith, we were at a Jordan party, right? We were both, in line to catch the bus back to the parking lot, because they had like a bus that went back and forth. And I turn around, I'm like, oh, Stephen A. Smith. I'm like, oh, I'm Vlad from Vlad TV. We cover you a lot on the site. He goes, yeah, everybody does.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of arrogance.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but that's that New York swagger of his too. He got that New York swagger. When you see him come to the All-Star games or any of the basketball games, he walked like he one of the players.
Right. What's funny though is that Bronny responded. He goes, yeah, always the weakest dudes have the more, the most to say. And I guess they posted up Stephen A. Smith's college stats. He averaged 1.5 points a game.
Okay, but Stephen A. ain't in the pros.
I know that, and this is
always it makes for funny.
It makes for funny commentary.
Yeah.
This is always what people criticize the media for. Oh, he can't rap, so he can't talk about me rapping. He can't produce. Why is he saying that? He can't play sports. He should be able to talk. No, anyone can talk about anything, especially if that's their job.
But the flip side to that is, a lot of these players, once they become retired, they would love their hand in the media to do what Stephen A. does. But everybody ain't qualified. Everybody ain't Shaq. Everybody ain't Kenny Smith, articulate, well-spoken, highly intellectual. Everybody ain't Charles Barkley, who might not be the most articulate at times, but he's a great, a soundbite. And his personality is entertaining as fuck. Same with Shaq.
Right.
Everybody ain't cut out to be commentators. So it's like, yeah, okay, Stephen A. might not be able to, play in the pros, but when some of these guys retire, they would love his position to further their careers, make more money.
Fact.
But everybody can't do that.
Yep.
I like Kendrick Perkins. All right, Mike and Molly. Let me tell you something, Stephen A. Mike and Molly.
Well, you very famously criticized Lizzo a while back.
She look better, don't she?
She lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
A lot.
So, ladies, let's knock it off with the bullshit, you go girl, yes, queen, body positivity shit. Because if you really felt comfortable in that skin, you'd stay there. But you don't, and you don't want to. It's just finally you get to a point where you go, I would rather look good and feel good and be healthy than lie to myself and keep acting like, I'm happy in the skin I'm in.
I mean, she vocally said she was unhappy.
Of course.
Being that heavy.
Of course.
But yet, then on the flip side, then she would go perform in a basketball game in a thong.
I
don't quite get it.
It's all a farce. It's all a farce. It's almost like, you protect your pride with exaggeration and pretend to be happy when you know you're not. Listen, I'm not completely happy in my skin because I know I got work to do. And I'd like to get back to what I was when I was that dude. But yeah, I've never sat up here and pretended like, nah, man, I'm good. I'd like to get right.
Yeah.
But men, I think tend to be a little bit more honest about it because we don't big each other up. We don't be on social media lying. Nigga, that gut look good, nigga. Keep doing your thing, baby. Look at the man titties, nigga. Yo, you doing your thing, bro. No, we make fun of you.
Let's go hit the buffet together.
Yeah, we make you want to get right. And women be lying to each other. Like when I'm on social media, and there's some bitches, just blimps. And them ladies be in them comments, girl, you go, girl. If you really believe that shit look good, then you be that big. You go there. Fuck out of here. Women are the biggest liars.
Yeah. In fact, Kanye, in one of his more recent Twitter tirades, said, I swear to God, I've never slept with a fat girl.
I did once, and it just wasn't. No.
Okay,
No.
so there was a girl that I'd messed with. She was like thick when I was messing with her.
But thick and fat is two different things.
So she wasn't fat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me finish. When I messed with her, she was definitely thick,
Right.
big chest, curves, whatever else. And then maybe a couple years later, we met up again, and she was definitely on the fat side.
Yeah.
But I still hit it. And it wasn't that bad. It was kind of like having sex with a pillow. You just sort of like smash it like hitting a pillow. Like, it's kind of like that. Like,
Dude,
you know what I mean?
I laid down with a fat chick once, and when she laid on her back and gravity took over, all her chest meat rolled forward, and it was like she had a turtleneck on. Good, man. I'm good, man. And to all you motherfuckers that's gonna be in the comments going, man, look at him. You be lucky to have any. Man, shut the fuck up, because I got swagger, nigga. I'm confident and I'm funny. I'm funny, I'm handsome, I'm fast, and can't possibly be beat. They got swagger, nigga. And when you got swagger and you got game and you funny, women look past all that shit. We're not held to the same standards that women are held to. That's why Sean Connery at 70 could get some pussy. That's why he was still sexy. That's why James Gandolfini, a lot of women thought he was sexy, bald and fat. It's swagger, it's attitude, it's confidence. Biggie fucked.
Yeah, the money doesn't hurt either.
Oh, that's the garnish on the plate.
Oh, that's the plate.
Yeah.
Everything else is the garnish.
No, because there's a lot of dudes who ain't got money who look like Biggie or who, may not be attractive and they fuck. Game go a long way, man.
A broke dude that looks like Biggie is not fucking.
Vlad.
Not fucking the type of women you and I are fucking.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
My value on a woman don't always have to be Halle Berry. I'll fuck the bitch that work at the stick joint in the mall.
Right, I get it. But what I'm saying is money goes a long way.
It goes a long way.
It goes a long way. And not just the money of like, ooh, like he's got a lot of money, but what the money represents, the stability,
I get all
the
that.
lifestyle.
I get all that. But Vlad, there's a lot of broke niggas that fuck bad bitches in the ghetto. Hey girl, let me borrow your car, borrowing their car, don't bring it back. Taking money out the pocketbook.
Most times these are not the bad bitches. Most times these are like the women with 5 kids with 7 baby fathers, and you know what I'm saying? Like they're no.
You're wrong on this one.
No.
You're wrong on this one.
I'm not gonna say you're talking about a dude that's dead broke.
Vlad,
is fucking a bunch of bad bitches.
Vlad,
bunch of Instagram models.
That works for you because you lean on money. You don't have game. I know you ain't got game.
I don't have game.
You ain't got game like that.
I got all the game.
If you had game,
I got confidence.
If you had game, you would know what I'm talking about is true.
I do know what you're talking about. And there's been lots of women that I've gamed up. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Boosie got into this whole argument about who slept with more women over the course of our lives.
Listen, when you go out, Vlad, your game is Jackson, Hamilton, and all the other dollars in your pocket. Them your boys. You and your boys get that pussy. I'm telling you, there's broke niggas that fuck bad bitches all the time.
Listen, I have actual female fans. Like I have women who approach me who are actually legitimate fans of who I am.
They Google your net worth.
It's not a Google your net worth. They actually watch my content. Like, I do have mostly male fans, but I have a lot of female fans.
What would you say your greatest attribute is in terms of game? Sex appeal?
Intelligence.
Intelligence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm tall.
I don't believe you. I got to go out with you.
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
I want to see it.
I'm 6'2".
I want to see it.
And at the end of the day, I'm Vlad. Just like you're Aries.
I know, but
you and I don't have to sell ourselves to a woman. Hey,
no, we don't.
That's what I'm saying.
But before I became,
at the point where you don't have to sell yourself, at the point that they know who you are before you even introduce yourself, it's a very different dynamic. That's all I'm saying.
I know, but even if you, unless you're just astronomically famous and rich, even when you're famous, if you a cornball, they'll see through that. But if you got enough money, they don't care.
Man, listen, you know how many social media cornballs I've interviewed? I remember, who's that one dude, Welvin the Great, who is mentally retarded and was like having sex with women when he was like
I don't even know who that is.
This is Welvin the Great.
That nigga?
Yes. I interviewed him, and he was talking about getting groupies when he was getting like club walkthroughs and stuff like that.
Nah, he fucking women that look like him.
No, he was like, I've seen some pictures. No. These are not dime pieces, but these are not like horrible looking women.
And then they 10 pennies, nigga. He fucking 10 pennies.
And I think like he wasn't even using condoms. Like these girls were risking
Nah,
pregnancy
I
with
don't
this
believe
guy.
that for 1 second.
Man, I'm telling you.
Get out of here.
I'm telling you.
Because he told you that?
Him and his man, like they were actually talking about specific stories.
So him and his boy told you that.
Yeah.
No woman validated that.
I mean, when do I bring a woman in to validate stories? In
If
general.
a nigga is that heinous, you gotta.
But he's known.
No, dude.
He had like
no,
hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram or whatever.
No,
else.
I don't believe that 1 second.
Listen, man. Like you see, oh my God, like who's the dude in Game of Thrones? The midget dude. You know what I'm saying? He be getting women.
Yeah, but he's the top tier midget.
He's the
in
top
game.
midget.
He's the Jordan midgets. What is Peter Dinklage? He's the Jordan of midgets, man.
The head midget in
He's
charge.
the head midget, man. Name another midget under him.
I don't know any.
Exactly.
Mini-Me, but he's dead. So he's taking
But
the
even
crowd.
Mini-Me was one note.
Mini-Me had like a decent-looking wife.
No, I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying in terms of work, if it wasn't Austin Powers, when did you see Mini-Me?
He was doing like big, Celebrity Big Brother and stuff like that. These are like major TV shows.
Nah, the reality shows, nah. Peter Dinklage is A-list.
Yeah, and a major. Well, he's been in a bunch of films.
Yes.
He was in Elf, I think, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't just Game of Thrones.
But I'm telling you, there's Peter and then there's nobody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's a dude from Friday.
The black dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably, he's the black dude, but even he ain't Peter Dinklage. But yeah, he was, I don't even know if he's as hot as he once was.
Well, no, because Peter, I think, is an actual real actor. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, the other guy is like comedic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
he's good for certain types of roles, but it's
Right.
not like you watched Friday and said, wow, this guy just blew me away. Like, okay,
Yeah.
he was funny for the scene,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, Peter actually has acting chops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's a real deal.
Well, speaking of actors, you criticized Queen Latifah for being portrayed as an action star in The Equalizer.
I wish I could show you the clip. I wish you saw the clip. There's a clip where she's fighting, I think, 3 or 4 dudes, and she's whipping their ass with a scarf.
With a scarf.
With a scarf, a neck scarf. She's like it's a whip. She's rolling around. She's wrapping it around her leg.
So
And
some Jackie Chan type
some
shit?
Jackie Chan shit.
Okay, got it.
And listen, man, and I've always said, I'm a little chauvinistic. And when it come to action movies, which I call, man food movies, there's a criteria. Car chases, explosions, gunshots, physical violence, titties, bloodshed. And I think just certain things should belong to men. And one person hit me up and was like, well, something about Jason Bourne compared to, well, Jason Bourne be doing a shit that look unrealistic. Yeah, but Jason Bourne ain't got triple D titties. I just can't invest in a woman with big ass tits, bear hugging niggas and body slamming them and suplexing them. I don't believe it. I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, but this happens all the time. What was that? Kevin Hart had that movie recently where he had like a female co-star and the two of them like beating everybody up. Like on a
I've
plane.
never seen it. No,
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of silly.
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
A woman that 18 pounds wet, beating up Russian mafia niggas that look like linebackers. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, you also criticized Kim Kardashian showing up on SNL 50.
Yeah, I've done that before. I mean, listen, man, I'm a comedian. And I'm like, if you're gonna be on a comedy show, a la SNL, sketch show, have some comedy chops. Be a real actor or an actress. We still keep saying, what did she do? And I know, she created Empire, Skims, and all of that. And bravo to her family for, utilizing what they had. But come on, man. As a comedian, I want to see a comedian. Somebody with real comedy chops.
Well, I mean, look, she's mega famous. She's one of the most famous human beings on the planet.
For what? For what?
Well, obviously there was a sex tape.
But that's, the
Shout out
expiration.
to my man Ray J, who I just interviewed.
Yeah, but the expiration date on that, her whole look has changed physically since that tape.
And then there's a very popular TV show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Again, the demographic that watches that has to be, I mean, young girls.
No, I think it's women in general. I think
Older women?
I think some middle-aged women watch that because look, the show consists of everyone from babies to senior citizens, like their mom, right? And everyone in between. It's like multi-generational. I mean, it's no different than like, you know, Basketball Wives or Real Housewives of Atlanta or whatever else. I remember on your comedy special, you're like, we should rename the show to Lucky Bitches. You got lucky. You married a rich guy.
Hey, you hit the lotto.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not mad at it. At the end of the day, she's on a major TV show that's been going on for like, 15 seasons. She was married to Kanye West.
Man, she fucked Reggie Bush and so-and-so and so-and-so and
Yeah.
so-and-so.
Pete Davidson got a little something. And, I mean, that family is Kylie Jenner. I mean, like, it's a phenomenon. Is she an actress? No. Is she a comedian?
No.
No. But she's a reality star, and there's been a lot of reality stars. You know, and some, like, for example, I just interviewed Stevie J, right? People forget that he sold like 120 million records and has 4 Grammys. People know him for his reality show, you know, and Jocelyn, whatever else. But
Okay, but you know...
he's actually talented in real life.
But exactly, you just said it. He's actually talented
But he's
in
a
real life.
rarity in that reality show world. Most of the people in that world are like, especially the women are like, you know, they're married to a guy or they act crazy, you know, or whatever else. Or they have kids with so-and-so and, you know, they fight each other on camera. It's like a Jerry Springer with, you know, with a plot line, I guess. You know, so yeah, I don't know. I'm not mad at it.
I am.
You're bad at it.
I just, it's cringeworthy for me to see somebody who doesn't have a comedy chop in their bone on a world-renowned historical comedy show like Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, but that happens all the time. Elon Musk hosted SNL.
Well, just because it happens don't make it right, but it is what it is.
I mean, am I right? And he had Grimes, his baby mother, on there as well, doing skits. Once again,
Yeah.
no acting ability. She's a musician. Listen, SNL is just like everyone else, man. Everyone's trying to go viral. SNL is no different.
But are they? But when you go, SNL's trying to go viral. They've been around for 50 years.
Yeah, but they got to keep up. They may not be around for another 50 more if they don't keep up with the times. How many shows have come and gone?
Yeah, but once you get to become an institution, at that point, it's like you can almost be bad.
Well,
you're in the American psyche.
Not in today's climate where you know where TV is hurting. Look, remember how big the Gong Show used to be? Went on for like 10 years. What happened to the Gong Show?
Yeah, but the Gong Show ain't like Saturday Night Live where you've
It's
birthed
not.
the careers of some of the most legendary comedians on the planet. You know, it has some cachet. The Gong Show never had cachet.
Did you ever apply? Did you ever like audition for SNL?
No,
Why not?
because I was on Mad TV for 8 years, and Lauren Michaels kind of like had a thing where it's like if you came from another show and you'd been there for a certain amount of time, he didn't really want to fuck with you. You know, I mean, Jeff Richards was on Mad TV, but he was only on there for like a season.
Rolling Stone included Michael Jackson's "The Lady in My Life" in its list of terrible songs. They said if Michael Jackson had just capped off Thriller with 8 tracks instead of 9, he would have created one of the most flawless works
Oh,
in music
get
history.
the fuck out of here. People just need
For
something.
reasons that are hard to fathom, he tacked "Lady in My Life" onto the end. He did deliver a strong vocal performance, but it's in service of a song that has no business on the same album as Billie Jean, Beat It, Human Nature, Thriller, and Wanna Be Starting Something.
That person should go fuck themselves. Like, you just have to, you know, it just like, come on, man. In terms of my personal opinion, of all the classics that Michael has had, that one doesn't jump out at me. But still, when you listen to it vocally, it's still a nice piece of work.
I don't know. I kind of agree with Rolling Stone on this one. And I've actually said this. I remember I was talking about at one point on Twitter, I said, name a flawless album. And a lot of people were saying Thriller. And I was responding in real time saying The Lady of My Life. And, to be fair, that song has the lowest streams of any song on that album.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any such thing as a flawless piece of work.
Well, and that's a real conversation. Yeah, and I think, for example, Lady of My Life, the only reason I think people even like it somewhat was because people like LL Cool J redid it. Like Hey Lover.
Yeah.
That was a sample.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. It's a sample of Lady of My Life. I don't know. I mean, people, when someone dies, especially an icon like Michael Jackson, people like to erase all the faults and just make that person perfect.
Or they like to pick at it when they shouldn't.
Yeah. One of the two. But most times, especially if it's a mega icon, you forget about the bleaching of the skin and all the plastic surgery and, the stuff about the kids and so forth. And you just like, the greatest entertainer of all time, Thriller, the greatest album of all time, Off the Wall. Sometimes people argue that that's the greatest album of all time.
And since we're on the topic of greatest entertainer of all time, y'all need to knock it off with this bullshit about Beyonce being better than Michael Jackson.
People are saying that?
You haven't seen that?
I have not seen
on social media. Yo, it's official. Beyonce is... No. Michael Jackson is the undisputed king, all right? He make grown men faint in Bucharest. You see what I'm saying? I forget, I watched I forget the name of the documentary, but there was a documentary on Michael Jackson. But towards the end of the documentary, they talked about, I think it was on Showtime, they talked about how, to this day, TikTok, all his songs, the dances, the most influential, how many streams, how many people imitate and copy and repost. Come on, man, ain't nobody fucking with MJ.
I mean, yeah. Beyonce just doesn't have a Thriller or an Off the Wall. She's got solid albums.
I don't think her global impact is as strong as Michael Jackson's.
Well, no, I don't think
anyone.
anyone.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't think anyone has had the global impact. Like,
nobody.
Michael Jackson could just walk onto the stage and not say anything for like 5 minutes.
And people crying and fainting.
People
losing
their mind.
Come on, man.
Losing their mind. Now, Beyonce has to come up and do a lot of dancing and, really show out. Beyonce's an incredible performer, incredible singer, But look, listen, even you got people like, I remember Trick Daddy was saying how, like, Beyonce could sing, but she can't sing. Like a Whitney Houston or an Adele or people like that.
Beyonce got pipes, though.
I mean...
She got pipes.
Okay, would you put Beyonce over Whitney?
No.
Would you put Beyonce...
Whitney's the Michael Jordan of what she did.
Would you put Beyonce over Adele? Adele's phenomenal.
Yeah, but there's a soulfulness that Beyonce has that Adele, to me, don't have. And that just comes from, pigmentation.
Okay, would you say Beyonce over Amy Winehouse?
Yes.
Well, Amy Winehouse doesn't have soul?
She does. But I think that Beyonce's a better singer. Well, in terms of ability.
Yeah, I mean, Amy kind of had a style.
And a specific sound.
Yes. Yeah.
Beyonce
probably has some more range.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, more vocal range.
Listen, people like what they like. There is no wrong answer.
I mean, listen, I would put Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin above Beyonce. Patti LaBelle above Beyonce. Yeah. If those women I just named are the top tier, after that tier, Beyonce's under that.
Well, you said there's no true black Bob Dylan fans.
Listen, I always say white tigers exist. Albino gorillas exist. There's always exceptions to the rule, but the majority is the rule. And ain't a lot of brothers walking around rocking Bob Dylan, man.
Yeah, I watched the movie.
I did too.
It was kind of disappointing.
I didn't go in there, like when I went to go see it, I went to go see it with my podcast partner and my featured comedian, Andy Steinberg, who's a big Bob Dylan fan. I wasn't, but I wanted to see it because we were going to talk about it on the pod. And I was a little curious. It was better than I expected, considering I didn't know what to expect. If I was a Bob Dylan fan, I'm going in there with Bob Dylan expectations. But because I'm not a fan and I'm not 100% familiar, my expectations can only be so much. But based on what I learned about him, based on what I saw, it was better than I thought it was going to be. I wouldn't see it again.
I wasn't really impressed. Like, and I'm not a Bob Dylan fan, but there are songs that I like.
Yeah.
Like Rolling Stone, I think is a very dope song. Or Knocking on Heaven's Door, I think is a very, very good song.
You know what you got to see? It's out on Hulu right now. Sly and the Family Stone.
Oh, okay, yeah, I heard about
a documentary about Sly and the Family Stone. And again, I heard the name, but I'm not really into Funkadelic.
Yeah, it's before our time. We're too young.
But when I watched it, I was like, yo, this motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, he was that guy. He's from the Bay. Yeah. No, I've always heard about him growing up because he was from where I grew up. But yeah, I mean, he was also crazy. I heard. But
well, aren't they all?
Yeah. But with Bob Dylan, it's like, well, number one, there's not a lot of black fans because he really was doing folk music. That's really what he does.
Oh, no, when you go down by the river, that nasally shit, niggas ain't.
And look, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the movie yet, just turn this part off. I felt like just strictly as a movie, the climax of like him playing at a folk festival with a country, with an electric guitar is such a, oh my God, this is the climax, the turning point. I'm like, that's it?
Well,
this is what we led up to, like this whole 2 hours?
But he wanted to express himself beyond the barriers of what they wanted him to.
I get it. I get it. But like, that's the best you could do for, like the arc of the movie. Like, that's the best you could do.
I wish they would have dove more into his association with social justice.
Yeah.
And his, political stance.
Yeah, I want to see more about his childhood. I mean, did he really grow up in the fair or was he just lying? I mean, It was almost like he wasn't telling anyone anything.
How did you feel about my man's performance? Timothy Chalamet is his name? That played him?
Well, no, I think he nailed the performance.
Yeah.
I feel like he did a good Bob Dylan. I mean, in general, I think he's a great actor.
Right.
He's been killing it in Dune.
This might be a testament more to Quincy Jones, but, they had that one documentary on Netflix called The Greatest Night in Music. And it was about the making of We Are the World. And it was interesting because you got these powerhouse singers in there, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross, Huey Lewis. And they showed where in the beginning, Bob was worried about his place. Because he just felt like, Bob Dylan, he didn't know how he would fit amongst these juggernauts vocally. But of course, Quincy Jones, being the master composer that he is, he knew how to use him and when. So that even if you're not a Bob Dylan fan, especially when you watch the documentary, when his part comes up and you go, okay. Because before that, you're going, how's he going to hang with these? But the way Quincy orchestrated it, you went, okay. Makes sense. His contribution was very valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and respectable, so.
Yeah, I got to meet Quincy one time. We hung out. Like, if you look at my Twitter, there's a picture of me and Quincy Jones throwing up the West Coast. Like,
oh, is that right?
Yeah, and he did that himself. I looked at the picture. He's like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we took the picture. He threw up a W, so I threw up a W. And it was like a very iconic moment with one of the greatest musical people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Remember on the Chappelle show, you had Clayton Bixby?
Uh-huh.
The blind,
racist,
black, white supremacist who didn't know he was black?
Yeah.
Is Kanye the new Clayton Bixby?
No, because Kanye is very aware of the fact he's black. At some point, I just, is it shock value? And I know a lot of musicians, part of what makes them who they are is shock value. But it's like when the shock value starts to outweigh the work, the talent, then that's when I get worried. Because when you think about Kanye and you go, man, college dropout, a lot of people will go, man, we want that Kanye back. We want the Kanye that said George Bush don't like black people. We love that Kanye. This new motherfucker, who is this? And I don't get it. I don't get what the swastika T-shirt praising Hitler. I don't understand what he's going for.
Well, he recently posted a photo of Ku Klux Klan robes and said outfit of the day. Yeah. Now, I'm like, just in case you thought Kanye only hates Jews, here you go. And then it's funny, the comments like, no, the Ku Klux Klan actually aren't racist against black people because they worked with Malcolm X to get black people their land back. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Who said that?
These people in the comments.
But I know it wasn't no black people.
I think it was, well, yeah, I think Tommy Sotomayor was like defending it, like in the comments.
That name is familiar. Tommy, who was that?
Long story. Anyways, he's like, oh, the Ku Klux Klan has never harmed me. I don't see what the problem is. Like, like, I've interviewed people like Dominique Wilkins who had a cross burned in his front yard in the South and had to move because of it.
Yeah.
These are people who are still alive.
Wow.
These are icons. He has a statue in Atlanta.
Yeah.
He had a cross burned, which is a Ku Klux Klan thing.
Yeah.
In his front yard. Todd Bridges from Different Strokes. Different Strokes.
Yeah.
Had a cross burned in his front yard because he was doing a show where a couple of black kids are with like a young white girl on the TV show, and people had a problem with it back then.
Yeah.
This is a real thing. Okay? Like, to sit there, and I just want to tell all the Kanye super fans out there who are going to emulate him and start wearing swastika shirts or maybe go out in Ku Klux Klan outfit.
Doing that. Nobody's doing
Kanye has a lot of security. You don't.
Yeah, no,
okay?
Nobody.
You'll get the shit beat out of you walking around with that T-shirt.
Since we're kind of on this subject, let me ask you, because I don't know if you were going to bring it up to me.
Let's go.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Or much ado about nothing?
I mean, I interviewed his dad, like right after that happened.
Damn, you interview everybody. When is the interview with you and Jesus Christ?
It's coming. It's coming. We're trying to book it. He's asking for too much money. He's asking for $40,000 plus 30%. But I feel like at first I felt like, okay, it looks kind of Nazi-ish, but he's not standing behind it. Right?
You mean
initially. He was saying this is not a Nazi salute.
Of course he's going to say
well,
that.
No, you got people like Kanye who are standing behind it, who are saying, I'm a Nazi, and yeah, what are you going to do about it? Elon was not standing behind it. But over time, I feel like he's getting more and more into the whole racist thing.
Or maybe he's always been that.
Or maybe he's always been that.
Right.
Who knows? I don't know him personally. I interviewed his dad. That's the closest I've ever come to Elon. But like, I almost feel like he enjoys this type of racist attention. Because if you notice, he recently said something to think about when it comes to Trump potentially pardoning Derek Chauvin for the murder of George Floyd.
Right.
Now, Trump said, I have no intention of doing that, thank God.
Yeah.
But to even put that out there is really, I feel just racist.
I know they say Elon has autism. He's autistic.
He has Asperger's.
Okay.
At least, well, and here's the thing. His dad doesn't necessarily think so. This may have just been something that he came up with, but he did say in school, some of the teachers did ask if he was retarded.
Well, I bring that up to say because one of the things that when he did it with such force and such passion and the biting of the bottom lip. And everybody was going, well, that's the Asperger's. And I'm just like,
yeah, no, that's not Asperger's.
Like, come on, man.
Asperger's doesn't make you racist.
No, I'm not saying making him racist. I'm just saying the way he did it and hit it with such, like he meant that shit. And they were saying, well, that's part of his, his whatever it is that makes him a little quirky like that.
Yeah, being quirky and being racist are two separate things. You
It's
can
a,
be
it's a hell of a,
quirky.
it's a hell of a scapegoat.
You can be quirky and not be racist. Like, there's, I don't.
I'm just saying, in terms of people, it would seem like an excuse. Rather than them going, yo, if it looked like a duck, quack like a duck, it's a fucking duck. It looked like what it look like he did, it was what it was. But then people are going, well, no, it's because he's as a means to, like,
Oh,
get out of it.
The Nazi logo actually came from Indians and it meant peace, and that's really what they're trying to bring it back to. No, Kanye's embracing the Nazi thing. He said, I love Hitler. I'm a Nazi. I'm racist. I know Jews. I don't trust any of them, and I don't like them. Like he says all this stuff. He was selling swastika t-shirts for $20 until Shopify shut him down. You know? Well, Amber Rose was on Club Shay Shay recently, and
That's fucking hilarious. That was hilarious.
well, Shannon asked her, why he thinks Kanye has like Bianca walking around naked, right? She said, well, Kanye wants other men to want his woman. That's what he's into. He likes that men are drooling over his woman. He wants all his friends to want his girlfriend. He wants everyone, when you walk in a room, his girlfriend or wife is the most desirable. She's the baddest bitch in the room.
He didn't seem to be too happy when Pete Davidson was piping Kim.
But that was no longer his woman.
Based on some of the things they said he did, he had that "you still my woman" mentality.
But that was, at that point, he was separated. That was his ex-wife.
I know.
I think he wants men
know.
to, I think she's saying he wants men to want to fuck his woman, but not actually fuck his woman. That Pete actually was fucking his woman. It's a little different.
Well,
It's a little different. But then again, I also heard stories that Kanye does the cuckold thing that he, remember this one porn chick was saying how Kanye was trying to get some dude with like the biggest dick like in porn to like fuck Bianca.
yeah,
in front of him.
I don't swim in them waters.
No, me neither.
That's some goofy shit there.
Yeah.
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 Listen, the thing that caught me was when she was on Shay Shay, she had said to Shannon Sharp, dudes, people think that because I look the way I look and I'm who I am, that all these men come at me, and a lot of men don't. They're intimidated by me. They don't approach me. She goes, I'm single now. If a man would just work up the nerve and approach me the right way, I'll go out on a date and blah, blah, blah. So finally Shannon went, so is there any requirements like that a man has to fit criteria-wise? And then she finally goes, well, he got to be rich. So you bitch. So you sitting up there acting like a regular dude got a shot, but really, she goes, you got to be rich. You don't have to be famous, but you got to be rich. So a regular dude don't have a shot.
Well, let's take a step back. Amber is what, in her late 30s at this point? Let's see how
I
old
think
she
she's
is.
38.
Let's see how old Amber Rose is. How old is Amber Rose? She's 41.
Oh shit. Okay.
Amber Rose is now in her 40s. She's had a great run being an IG model and video vixen and whatever you want to call that and so forth.
Right.
She doesn't have any businesses that I'm aware of, right?
I don't
She
know.
basically has to sell herself in order to make, Fashion Nova money or, paid posts or stuff like that. And at 41, there's a whole batch of super bad 21-year-olds that are stealing her shine right now. And every day there's new ones popping up. Like I remember Lil Baby had a great line in the song. He said, they didn't stop making bad bitches when they made you. So now you got a bunch of bad bitches who are way younger, way hotter, if that's what you're into, but then, you know how it is with youth will goes a very long way.
Yeah.
So she's thinking she's got 2 kids. Wiz Khalifa, I'm sure pays some child support, but this child is getting older. There's going to be an end date to that child support. And from what I understand, their prenup, I think he gave her like $1 million, and that was it.
Which ain't shit in today's market.
In today's market, it ain't much, right? I'm sure that's been spent. She's got a second baby father that's the one who's dating Cher.
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't have any income. His income's probably 0 because Cher's paying for everything.
Right.
So you got this woman who's now middle-aged, who's thinking about what her future is and how she's going to maintain the lifestyle she's gotten used to. I mean, think about it. She was a stripper from Philly.
Right.
She used to dance to Sue's Rendezvous.
Sue's Rendezvous was the shit.
It was the shit, wasn't it, though?
Whoa.
Ooh, yeah.
First time I went to Sue's
Sue's
Rendezvous.
was cracking. Sue's was cracking. Oh, yeah. Sue's was definitely cracking.
The Hispanic.
I mean, and you had to do a long drive to get out there. People thought Sue's was like in Manhattan. No, it's like way out in the Bronx.
You know about
You're in the
Sue's
middle of
Rendezvous.
nowhere. You're driving a long time.
Oh, Sue's Rendezvous, nigga.
I know, right?
Them Hispanic chicks in there. Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. And she was one of them.
Right.
And she was one of them.
You know, I wish these, like, come on, man. You want to be respectful. But it's just like, let's call it what it is. Y'all are glorified prostitutes.
Well,
some of them go on. Some of them go on to, take advantage of what they get when they get it and break off and become something else and become entrepreneurs. But most don't.
Well, yeah.
Most don't.
And that's the thing. Kim became a legitimate entrepreneur.
Like they survivalists sucking dick.
Kim Kardashian has real companies and so forth. What I'm saying is with Amber, and look, me and Amber know each other. We haven't talked in a very long time. I don't know if we're still good or not, but it is what it is at this point. But she has to think about her 40s, her late 40s, her 50s, her 60s. What's the point of her dating a guy who's, middle class that she has to primarily support?
But don't you feel like maybe the guy that could be her soulmate is a middle class guy? She might be missing out on who could be the love of her life and be happy, truly happy.
But I think that's trumped by the lifestyle that she wants to live. Yeah, she wants to live in a mansion. She wants to.
Don't we all?
Last time I seen her, she was like an Escalade or something.
Don't we all?
Of course, don't we all? But some people want it more than others.
But what I'm saying is, the thing that should really matter to you and be most important to you, that really is about, if it's really about love and companionship and honesty, again, you might be blocking your blessing because you want to live in a mansion when the guy who can love you the way you need to be loved might not be able to put you in a mansion.
No, listen, I feel like men almost have an advantage over women when it comes to this because we're more open with the type of women that we date. We will date a girl who works at McDonald's if she's bad and maybe she has some potential. But in general, men understand that they're not going to get a sugar mama. They're not going to get a woman who's really wealthy. Having a woman who's got a good job, maybe has a master's degree and so forth, you're like, okay, yeah, like this works for me. I'm not looking for someone that's going to buy me a Benz or buy my house, but this is cool. Whereas women, they want the rich guy.
Yeah, they got to upgrade up. They got to upgrade up.
Oh yeah, TK Kirkland had a really interesting line. He said, most women don't think they're broke. They just feel they haven't found the right guy yet.
They all playing the lotto. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, you were married to the same woman twice.
Mm-hmm.
And you might be married to her again for the third time?
We'll see.
Is this a real thing?
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about this for a second. Okay, have you ever been married to anybody else?
No.
Okay. Is this your soulmate?
There's a lot of could-be's here. There's a lot of could-be's, man. I don't know.
Okay. So your first marriage with her, how long did that last?
A couple years, maybe.
Okay. You guys got divorced.
Uh-huh.
Who filed?
We're not going to get into detail about this.
All right. But I remember on your comedy special, you were talking about how she got $30,000 a month in alimony.
She got paid.
Support.
Yeah.
And he said it wasn't because she needed it, it's because the money was there.
I'm going to quote Bill Burr, one of the greatest comedians ever. He said, why did he say this? Why do we need to find out that it somehow takes a kid $30,000 to eat Fruit Loops? I'm fucking up his joke, but He had a great way of putting it in perspective about how ridiculous it is.
Okay, so you're married to her for a few years. You guys got divorced. how much time passed before you got married again?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Roughly.
It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot.
So a few years later, you got remarried.
Yeah.
Why did you get remarried as opposed to saying, listen, we tried this once. The legal structure of this marriage thing didn't work for us the first time. Let's just be boyfriend, girlfriend, or be engaged forever.
'Cause I love her.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We
You
love
can
each
love
other.
someone without marrying them, though.
I mean, you can't. But I personally, I'm a romantic. I believe in all that.
Okay.
You know, even if it didn't work, that's fine. But I'd rather keep trying than to give up. You know, I always say you don't walk away from something you love. If you truly love it, you might put it on pause. You might need to take a break. You know what I mean? And do something else. But if you really love it, you ride it out to the end, man, till the wheels fall off.
Okay. So you tried it again. You got divorced again.
Mm-hmm.
How much time passed the second time?
I don't know. We might try it 5 more times.
Okay. So the second marriage, how much time were you guys married?
I don't remember offhand.
Okay. You're dodging the question.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, I don't
You
remember.
don't remember how long you were married.
No, I don't.
It was just a total blur.
Hey, man, when you get punched in the face, things get blurry.
Was it over a year? Was it over 2 years?
Why are you so pressed for this
Because
information?
it's a very interesting story. You don't see
Well,
this
then
very often.
Don't worry about the story. Worry about the end.
Okay.
When the final chapter is
all
written, I'll
you
come talk to you.
Okay, but you got divorced again,
Yeah.
and now y'all are trying to make it work for the third
Yes.
time?
Yeah, we got kids and shit.
How many kids?
Yeah, 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you have kids from another relationship also, right? So you
One.
have kids from another
previous relationship. Yeah,
Okay.
one.
So you guys both have.
Yeah.
It's like a Brady Bunch thing kind of going on here.
Almost, yeah.
Almost. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you guys might get married for the third time.
Yeah.
All right.
Wish me luck.
Yeah, I'll go to the wedding. You know, send me an invite.
I don't know if I want you at the wedding.
Why do you not want me at the wedding?
Because you Vlad, nigga.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
What would I do to ruin your wedding?
I don't know, but it's something sinister. I don't know. I don't know, man.
Well, what do you think about Neo that basically has been flaunting his relationship with 4 women at the same time?
Hey, hats off, pimp.
Yeah, I'm digging it.
I think every man, to a certain degree, fantasizes about being able to do that.
Well, most men have polyamorous relationships. It's just that the women don't all know each other.
Well, I
They're
mean,
just not aware of it.
yeah, well,
You see what I'm saying?
There's a lot of men
That's what
dabbling
I'm
in
saying.
that.
How many dudes
But I-
have like
no.
2-3 side chicks?
No, but
and a wife.
The hat tip is to be able to have them know about it
Yeah,
and
I
it
mean,
work out.
You know, it's not as hard as most people think it is. I know that I've been with women who are totally fine with me being with other women. I've been with women that like to see me. Like, they don't want me to have sex with other women unless they're there and they're involved in it.
Watching, or they're in the bed too.
Yeah, both. Watching, and you know, a lot of times they're bisexual, but they're not bisexual in the sense of they have girlfriends, right? They've never actually dated women on their own,
Right.
but they're only bisexual because they like to have threesomes. You see what I'm saying? But on their own, they're not messing with women without their man involved in it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, listen, as much as I might fantasize about how fun that would be, I'm also realistic in the sense that, you know, it's hard to please one woman sometimes, let alone 4 of them. Like, you know, it's got to be a drag on your energy.
Well, yeah. Imagine if they start to gang up on you. Imagine when they start to meet up, you know, amongst themselves and be like, listen, we all need more money. We all need better cars. He got us driving Honda Civics. The fuck? No.
Yeah, I think at some point you actually have to be a pimp in order to pull that off, because pimps come with the ability to break women down. So if you can break them down and take that kind of control, then maybe that's one thing. But if you're just a regular civilian doing that,
Yeah, but okay, I've interviewed actual pimps.
of course you.
Don Magic Wand,
Yes,
Fillmore
yes, of course,
Slim.
yeah.
You know, I actually know pimps in real life. A pimp is not actually dating these women out of romance and so forth. He's dating these women because he provides a sense of relationship to them, which he then uses to have them sell themselves and bring all the money back to him.
But I'm not talking about the dating aspect. I'm talking about the mind control, the power.
I don't think Neo really has mind control over these women like a pimp does.
Are you not catching what I just said? I'm telling you from my perspective, in order for, like, as Neo is a regular dude in the sense that he's not a pimp.
No.
So yes, he's not doing what a pimp would do.
No.
Whereas a pimp with power and mind control and manipulation can run that without, the consequences of repercussions of what women naturally will do to a man. And when you go, they'll gang up on him and, they might turn on him, and they ain't turning on the pimp. They'll turn on the regular dude.
Oh, they
ain't turning on the pimp.
Are you crazy? Women turn on pimps all the time. In fact, that's always the pimp's biggest headache. That he usually has like a bottom girl, and then he has the other girls, and like you hear of stories all the time where one of them kills the other one or stabs the other one. There's constantly fights.
Wait, the girls stab the other girls?
Yes.
Do they stab the pimp?
Usually no.
Okay, exactly, motherfucker. I'm not talking about
who wants that.
I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about turning on the pimp. That's the power. That's the mind control. He has them. They're not gonna turn on him. If they turn on each other, that's just shit that women do. Women are catty.
They do turn on. Listen, and a lot of times these girls will go to the police and get these pimps arrested and so forth.
Okay, finally, maybe something happens.
This happens.
Finally.
This happens a lot. Listen, you're also dealing. Listen, when I studied this, I read books, I interviewed these guys. Me and Don Magic Juan are actually friends. Like, we haven't seen each other in a while, but we used to actually, like, every weekend, we used to, like, hang out. Like, I used to be on a show, like, every weekend. So I really got to see an actual, like, world-class pimp doing his thing. You gotta understand, like, they're dealing with very damaged women. These are women that have been molested. These are women that are homeless. These are women with extreme mental conditions, drug problems sometimes. And you have different types of pimps. You got pimps that string out the women on drugs. You got something called gorilla pimps. These are the ones that beat their women. And, Don Magic Juan admitted on camera, yeah, I'll beat my women. Because, when you tell a woman something, you got to mean it. And you got to back it up with violence in case they, if they don't listen to what you're telling them. This is not I used to really kind of like admire pimps. Wow, they have all this control. Once I learned about them, I'm like, nah, I don't want no piece of this. I'm cool. I don't want to be a pimp on any level.
But nobody ever painted the picture that the pimps were, dealing with anything less than damaged goods. That's part of the advantage.
Well, it depends the pimp that you're talking about. You got people like Hugh Hefner, who I think was a full-blown pimp. In fact, I even heard stories for years that, like, the rich dudes from, like, Saudi and Dubai would pay him $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 to fly some of those playmates, out to the Middle East. And he would get a big cut of that.
But Hef wasn't smacking nobody.
No, Hef was not. Hef was not.
What kind of real mind control did he have over them?
I mean, they all.
I know he set rules. There were
a lot of.
rules.
They lived in his home, the Playboy Mansion. Like he had
probably
a whole.
was asleep by 8:30.
Well, later in life, yes. But come on, you didn't admire Hugh Hefner?
Of course,
Come on now.
Of course.
We're men.
What? I've been to the Playboy Mansion.
Heterosexual man
I've been there.
has admired
Yes.
Hugh Hefner. Wished they were Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, we all wish we were Superman at one point. Yeah.
Well, but he's not Superman. He's a real person.
I didn't mean in the literal sense.
No, but I'm saying, like, I think most of us wanted to be Hugh Hefner and not who's the hustler guy?
Larry Flint.
Larry Flint.
We want to be Larry Flint too. Listen, you want to do all those things.
Until he got shot and put in a wheelchair.
You want to do all those things in your youth. But the older you get, you go, do I really want to sleep with 4 bitches in the same bed or have that one special one?
4 doesn't sound that bad, man.
Yeah, it does it in your 20s, 30s, and maybe some 40s.
I don't know.
But the older you get,
even in your 50s, it doesn't sound that bad.
I'm tired, man.
You're tired?
I'm tired. I don't need to be around 4 hoes.
You're trying to get married for the 3rd time, so I obviously can't tell you shit.
To the same woman, the mother of my 2 kids.
Right. So obviously, your point of view when it comes to relationships is a little different than a lot of men. And that's more power to you. I applaud I applaud the fact that, you found someone that you really love and you're sticking with.
Listen, listen, when things are magical between us, we're like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen before the bullshit. But when things aren't good between us, we're Israel and Palestine. You know what I mean? We go hard. You know what I mean? But we both from New York. We both got that energy. You know what I mean? It's Puerto Rican, black man, sofrito, adobo, hot sauce, it's a hell of a combination.
I mean, the Super Bowl happened since our last interview, and you said some words about it. You said it's crazy some of our people refuse to leave the plantation. Jay-Z's a black mogul. They gave us Kendrick, a 5-time Grammy winner. I believe Kendrick has 20 Grammys.
Oh, does he?
Yes.
I didn't know he had that many.
Yeah, let me see.
Oh, no, was it? Okay.
How many Grammys does... 22 Grammys.
How many Grammys does Jay-Z have? Because I was like, damn, I might have been talking about...
25.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. More to the point.
I think Drake has like 5.
Oh.
Yeah. So you said, but y'all rather have a drug-induced gargoyle who perpetuates the stereotype that white folks love in front of a TV audience of 155 million.
Yeah.
You're talking about Lil Wayne.
If we were talking about Lil Wayne 10 years ago, different story. But every piece of footage I've ever seen with him on stage, incoherent, looking like he's high as a motherfucker, we're about to fall out. Yeah. And with an audience of that size, let's not be the stereotype. Let's not be the stereotype.
Well, I mean, I've been saying that Kendrick is an obvious choice. He's on a generational run. Like, in fact, his song with SZA, Luther, is still #1 on the charts. And that song's been out for months. So, but I'll be honest, I wasn't super blown away by the performance. In fact, I felt that SZA kind of stole the show. I felt like when SZA started singing, that's when oh, okay, like this is...
Well, I mean, I think for a lot of people, it wasn't just the performance, it was the message within it. Whether Sam Jackson coming out as Uncle Sam and,
right.
All the things that took place and the dancers looking like the American flag, what the lyrics were. I think that was where the true potency was, not just the performance, but the message. And, a lot of people got mad and said, look, this is the Super Bowl. Who wants a message? We just want to be entertained.
I mean, Beyonce did it. She did the whole Black Panther thing.
Yeah, yeah. So listen, it's subjective. So, what some people might not have found as entertaining for a Super Bowl, others did.
I mean, I heard it broke records. And what'd you think of Serena crip walking?
I know that she's got the Compton affiliation.
Right.
So I would imagine that's more of what that was about. But it didn't do me no never mind either way.
Okay, so let's just say you get remarried for the 3rd time. And your wife says, hey, Aries, I'm going to go perform on national television for a diss song.
No.
Where this artist is dissing my ex.
How many times I gotta say no before you stop selling it to me? No.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, Serena's husband made white people look bad. Like, I feel like, we gotta take his white card away from him. He's gonna have to be
Some people would say Serena made us look bad. Because one of the jokes was, she over here doing crip walking and all this blackness and then going home to this. And then they would show his picture.
What's wrong with that? So she's married to a white guy. So you can't crip walk if you're married to a white guy?
No, well, listen, I'm not saying it, but, some black people within the culture.
Listen, it's always going to be racial. It's always going to be racial, and I get it, especially on social media. But what I'm saying is, you saw who wore the pants in that family when that happened. Because it's like, okay, yes. And he even talked about how the crip walking at the Olympics was such a polarizing situation. This is why she took the opportunity to do that, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, this song is dissing her ex. And in fact, people forget Kendrick had 2 of Drake's exes at the Super Bowl. Because SZA used to mess around with Drake. Let's not forget that. I feel like Kendrick was playing chess.
I mean, it might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he won the match.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, Drake and Party Next Door dropped a new album. Thought it was a good album.
Again, man, you talking to somebody whose rap jersey is in the rafters.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
listen, I get it. Me and Party Next Door, we DM each other sometimes. I hit him up. I'm like, yo, great album. He's like, yo, thank you, bro. Like, I actually like the album. But I almost feel like Drake is just trying to put this beef behind him and is trying to go back to doing the type of music that people like him for.
Well, from everything that they say, when you've lost the beef so badly, of course you want it behind you.
Yeah.
So people can concentrate on other shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I still like Drake's music. I think most girls like Drake's music. I don't think girls are really fucking with Kendrick the same way they're fucking with Drake.
No, they probably not. But
yeah.
You too old to be listening to Drake, man.
No, man, I'm not too old to be listening to anything. Fuck
how
that.
old are you?
I'm not doing that. I'm 51. Yeah. Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, oh, this is a Tribe Called Quest second album because ain't no real hip hop, everything else crap. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be the old man on the porch.
You just want to keep your hand in the pool of youth.
Well, no, I actually appreciate. I feel like if something is reacting and millions of people are fucking with it, I feel like I should look at the artistry behind it and try to figure out what it is that has drawn so many people to this. And sometimes I find it, sometimes I don't. Right? Like, I don't quite get Playboy Cardi. I understand he's a megastar or whatever else, but I like Travis Scott.
You 51, man. Listen to jazz.
Nah.
Listen to some Herbie Hancock. some Thelonious Monk.
Some Bob Dylan.
Some Miles Davis, man. You're too old to be listening to this hip hop.
Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And like, I made it a point of just not kind of just like blocking myself off and just listening to a bunch of old music. Like, I actually get excited hearing new music. I'm constantly, and it's not just hip hop. It's like, I've been on this like white girl rock phase recently where I'm finding like all these like really dope like white female singers, that I didn't even know about.
That are what age?
What do you mean?
What's the age of these girls?
I mean, it's all over the place. Some of them are in their 30s and 40s. Some of them, are a little bit younger, but it'll be like one song, like the Ha Ha Ha's. I recently discovered them. Like, it's like there's a lot of really, really dope music out there that, is not necessarily hip hop. I like some Taylor Swift songs. You don't like any Taylor Swift songs at all?
Nigga, think black and get serious.
She doesn't have black fans?
What?
She doesn't have any black fans.
Again, listen, man, there's niggas that wear leather moccasins with no socks and choker necklaces. You know what I'm saying? Are they black? Yeah, they black. But are they black? Nah, they ain't black. Come on, man.
Now, you criticized Corey Holcomb for saying Dave Chappelle was an overrated stand-up comic.
Mm-hmm.
You said, this is the most horrible take ever. I'm a Dave Chappelle worshiper, and Dave's track record for films is not elite. He did one movie that was considered a cult classic, which was Half-Baked. And outside of that, Chappelle's show is definitely a classic. Dave's strong suite has always been stand-up. He's like the Miles Davis of the art, not the best, one of the best. Style smooth, highly intelligent, but at the same time rough and raw when it needs to be. He's not a one-trick pony who only talks about one thing. In his specials rival Carlin's and Pryor's, you said, what a horrible garbage take that reeks of envy.
Yes.
So you think that Corey is just envious of Dave Chappelle?
I don't think he appreciates Dave Chappelle because, again, Dave can give you intellectual comedy, thought-provoking comedy. But he can also give you that fast food, junk food. He can go raw. He can be silly, but he's also highly intellectual. And everybody can't do that, And again, Corey's a beast. Corey's a comedic beast. But Corey is one note. You know what I'm saying? He's one note. And it's a strong note. And if you're a fan, you'll eat that note up all day. But everybody ain't gonna be Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? That's what Dave, what makes Dave so brilliant. And when he was talking about how, the incident in particular, Dave being at the Improv, and he said some old dude said, "Man, you ain't gonna crack a joke." Well, first of all, I don't believe that, but even if that did happen, it's like, don't confuse Dave being at a comedy club, sitting on a stool for 2 hours, figuring it out with what will eventually be the special. When you see the special, you getting the finished product. You getting it perfected. Dave can sit on a stool for 2 hours and he might talk for 5 minutes, 6 minutes before he finds the joke. And everybody don't have that ability. A lot of us can't just go into a club and go, I'm gonna bump whoever's next for 2 hours. We can't do that. So when we go up, we gotta make the best of our time when we get it. Whereas Dave, he's earned his stripes. He can do that. So every comedian would love to be able to just sit on a stool and just take your time and flow and find it rather than force it. One of the things that Patrice said, which to this day is hard for me to do, he goes, you gotta be able to sit in silence because it's uncomfortable. It's one of the most uncomfortable things for a comedian to do because they're constantly in our minds, we're like, where's the laugh? I ain't getting no laughs. Too much time is going by and ain't no laughs. So it's sitting in the silence and sitting in that uncomfortable spot that allows you, if you can master that, if you can master that uncomfortable feeling and not feel the pressure to always be funny, that's where you find the diamond in the rough. Well, and there's an art to that, man. Yeah. There's an art to that.
But Dave is like the rock star of comedy right now.
He is.
Like, think of, there's no bigger comedian, stand-up comedian than Dave Chappelle right now.
Well, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart can fill an arena, a football stadium.
And Dave can't?
I'm not saying Dave can't, but Dave...
Okay, all right, so, this is a good question. Okay, Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle do a show in the same city.
Oh, Dave. I'm going to Dave.
Not you, but which place is going to get filled up the most?
That's a great question. Because I would say I would almost equally. The box office receipts don't, the turnstile receipts don't lie. Kevin sells out arenas, man. And Dave, and see, here's what's I don't know what the right word is, but because I don't want to say weird, but Dave doesn't feel, if Dave wants to do an arena, he'll do an arena. But he would much rather do a smaller venue because he's just quirky like that. The intimacy, he doesn't have to give you the show, even though he knows he could sell it out. He's more of the dude lives in Ohio. He don't want to live in New York. Yeah, he don't want to live in LA. He lives in Ohio. And not even a major city like Cleveland or Cincinnati.
Well, he lives, he's almost like a Warren Buffett who lives in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay, but but you see,
he's so big. Listen, people think that Neverland Ranch was somehow like right in LA. No, it's not. It's like 2.5 hours outside LA. When you're a mega star, you decide where on earth you want to live because everyone will come to you. Right?
Yeah.
I wish I was that famous where I could just live. For example, I grew up in the Bay Area. I would love to live in the Bay, but I understand I can't work in the Bay. There's no entertainment industry like that. There's no movie stars. There's not a lot of athletes that are constantly going through there. It's not LA. It's not New York. It's not Miami. So I can't live there. But if I was Joe Rogan, then I could live wherever I want.
Yeah.
Right? Because I know Joe Rogan turns down Kamala Harris interviews because she doesn't want to come to him.
Yeah.
I'm not in that position. Kamala Harris told me to meet her in an outhouse in the middle of Siberia. I would go meet her in an outhouse in the middle of Siberia because I need that interview, right? But Joe Rogan, you could pick and choose. That's why Dave lives where he wants to live. It's not because that's the only place he can afford. Or...
it reminds me of the dynamic between Magic and Larry Bird.
Okay.
Where if you watched, one of my favorite documentaries was Courtship of Rivals. And there's a moment where Magic's talking about them being in Barcelona for the Dream Team. And he goes, when we got done with what we were doing, we're about to leave the hotel. And outside the main entrance, the fans, the paparazzi, it's a scene. And Larry Bird is going, hey man, y'all don't have a side door I can go out? Because I don't want to do that. And Magic was like, and you know me, I'm Magic. I ain't going out no side door. I'm going out the front because I'm Magic. That's Kevin Hart. Kevin's going through the front with the paparazzi and the noise. Dave is, give me the back door. Let me slide out the side. Just as effective, but that's Dave.
Okay, so let's get back to that question. Same city, same night, who sells the most tickets? Same city, same night, who sells the most tickets? Both of them are in the same type of venue.
I say Dave, but only by a cunt hair. Only by a cunt hair, man. Because the true comedy purists, the people that love it to their core, that's who Dave is. He's a comedy purist.
I've always said this. I admire Kevin Hart for his work, ability, his unrelenting drive to go from, a short guy from Philly to being a movie star, having big specials, selling out arenas and stuff like that. But I feel he's a one-trick pony when it comes to comedy. Everything is self-deprecating. I'm short. I'm small. I can't reach this. I feel that most of his stuff is self-deprecating.
I think that's the label that people like to run with. Like that's the rumored talking point. But when you see Kevin in action,
I've watched his specials.
But what I'm saying is,
I don't think he has the range of a Chappelle at all. At all. I don't think he has the range of a George Carlin.
I don't know if range is the right word.
I don't think he has a range of a Eddie Murphy.
I don't think.
And you're in that conversation at that level.
I don't know if range is the right word. I'll take depth.
Okay, depth. Range.
Dave
same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
Not the same thing?
Dave is mentally on such a deeper level. There's certain things that Kevin won't touch. A lot of comedians won't touch. When Dave did his special, which I think was one of the best specials ever, The Closer.
Yeah.
He might have told 2 jokes that wasn't anything transgender. Otherwise, the whole special was transgender.
Right.
Do you know how difficult that is?
Yeah.
To tackle a subject that edgy, that taboo, that scary, and be hilarious with it, not just from the funny, but just intellectually.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Hart
That's brilliant.
Kevin Hart could never. He couldn't pull that off. He wouldn't be able to pull that off.
Well, I'll even say this. He probably wouldn't even want to try to, because his brand is so bop, 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 bop. It's so Madison Avenue. It's so likable. Whereas Dave, he ain't going for Madison Avenue. Not saying he can't get a billboard on Madison Avenue, but Dave is more like a boutique comic. He's for those that go, yo, I like my cocaine uncut. Straight, uncut, no bacon, no stepped on, nothing. Blue Magic.
Yeah, listen, I've always loved Dave Chappelle's stand-up from Killing Me Softly.
Right.
I was up on Dave Chappelle before the Chappelle Show. When the Chappelle Show came, I'm like, oh, I love this guy. Absolutely. I'm all up on this show. But, that's my personal preference. I admire what Kevin Hart has done. But I've never watched a Kevin Hart special and said, yo, I love that special.
I haven't either.
See?
I haven't either. But that's because, like you said, Dave is I want my cocaine uncut.
Yeah.
I want it raw.
Listen, I've watched Ali Wong specials that I've absolutely loved. In fact, that's my favorite. I would say she's my favorite female comedian of all time. Ali Wong. Yeah. You're not agreeing with me right now, are you?
I'm not familiar with her like that.
Okay, you haven't seen her. Okay, you haven't seen her stuff.
Yeah.
It really is brilliant. It really is brilliant, honestly. But if you haven't seen it, then it's not really much of a conversation. But at the end of the day, Chappelle, I'm not surprised he is where he is.
Right.
I've always thought that he was brilliant. I always thought he went in a direction that nobody else was even thinking about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I've had, there's Eddie Murphy, the 2 Eddie Murphy specials I feel are timeless. There's Cat Williams specials that I think are timeless. I haven't seen anything from Kevin. I've laughed. I'm like, okay, this is cool. It's entertaining. if I was there, I would have enjoyed myself.
Right.
But I don't go back and rewatch them like I do some of Chappelle's stuff,
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy stuff, some of Cat stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. Well, Jay-Z was being sued for an alleged sexual assault of a 13-year-old.
Wasn't that cleared?
That was dropped. And now he's actually suing the girl and the lawyer. Yep, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
You know, now the girl's saying that she still stands by her story and Jay-Z's scaring her and people are coming to her house and so forth. Listen, if you want to file a bullshit lawsuit that you can't stand behind on any level, her own dad said it was bullshit.
Yeah.
She said that, oh, Good Charlotte was there. Good Charlotte made a statement saying we were on tour in the Midwest. We were not even on that side of the world during that entire time.
Right.
And now they're saying that Tony Busby, the lawyer, may lose his like ability to practice law in New York. So all his like Diddy lawsuits are going to be coming, you know, falling away and so forth. Yeah, man, I wish there were more Jay-Z's out there.
Yeah, you know, it's like these people should be made an example of, you know, because, you know, obviously celebrities and people with wealth have a target on their back. And at some point you have to let them know, you know, you just can't take advantage like that because there's consequences and repercussions. So yeah, bravo.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the way the legal system is set up is that he's going to sue that girl and he's going to win.
Right.
And he's not going to collect anything because she doesn't have any money.
But it's the point.
It's the point. Not a lot of people have the money that Jay has to prove points like this.
Yeah.
You see, and that's what I don't like about the legal system is that she got a lawyer to take her case on contingency, meaning that she never paid $1 out of her pocket to do anything. She loses. When it's time to recoup your, you know, your lawyer expenses or even countersue, you're going to get nothing out of it except for just proving a point. And I think what he's really doing is saying, listen, if you sue me, I'm not Diddy, I'll sue you back. So just cut it out.
Right.
Don't turn me into the next Diddy where if you took a photo with me over the last 30 years, you were sexually assaulted after the photo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is basically what's happening.
Listen, it'll be good for other celebrities, you know, for him to light that fire, you know?
Yeah.
Probably long overdue.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy for America to be so cool. We're so fucked up. Like the justice system is just, come on, man. How long has America been around? We can't fix this.
Well, do you know why we're not fixing it? Because most people in government are lawyers. All these congressmen and senators and everything, they have law degrees.
But wouldn't you think that if they're on the receiving end of the bullshit, they would want to fix it?
No, because then that undermines the entire profession. I mean, Obama was a lawyer, right? He went to Yale. He has a law degree. He practiced law. Like a lot of these guys are lawyers, and if you suddenly intrinsically change the way it works. So, for example, I'll give you an interesting example, right? Like, I remember I was having problems this was years and years ago. There's a company in the UK that basically ripped off some of my stuff, and I was going to sue them. And I remember I talked to a couple lawyers in the UK, and they were like, "Listen, this is not America. You have to pay us to sue. Like there's no, oh, we'll cover the cost and we'll take a third. That doesn't happen in the UK. So if you want to sue somebody, you got to pay the lawyer whatever their monthly, you know, whatever their hourly fee is. You know what I'm saying? I got a lawyer right now that charges me $950 an hour, but she's worth it, right? You get what you pay for at the end of the day. But all this contingency, hey, let us represent you for free, and then we'll take our third or we'll take 40%. That doesn't happen everywhere in the world. It's kind of an American thing. And I feel it's a ridiculous loophole because most people just wouldn't have the money to sue people.
Yeah.
You know? Are you surprised that Diddy's still locked up?
Yeah. Yeah. Because people with power and resources, they usually get away with, or the system tends to be a little bit more lenient on them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I saw this documentary on, I think it's like 6 parts, on HBO Max called The Downfall of Diddy.
yeah.
He's a horrible human being. You call him a musical genius, or in terms of what he did, phenomenal.
Okay.
But he seems like a horrible human being.
Okay, well, I haven't seen the documentary, and you know how documentaries go. It's usually slanted a certain type of way, and there's usually no opposing part in terms of the storyline. So, you tell me what makes him so horrible.
Well, when you say that, okay. But when there's so many people saying the same thing, it's almost like the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Okay, so what was some of the worst parts you saw in the documentary?
Well, one of them was the last part, the 6th part, where they interview the guy was his assistant, who was clearly gay, and he almost broke down into tears, basically saying how Diddy forced himself upon him. So that, and then, you know, all the countless women that, there was another incident where one girl was describing, and she was in tears, about how she went to go see him during a recording session, and she was basically held down on a pool table and gang raped, and Diddy being one of the assaulters. So then in the first episode, they talked about during his uprise, where he threw it was supposed to be like a celebrity basketball game.
Yeah, I know about this.
Yeah, and
People died.
yeah, and the way the story was told, he was kind of responsible for being negligent in certain things in terms of preparation and protection. And it just seems like there was always this trail of Diddy being connected to someone's life being fucked up behind his actions. They talked about in one episode, the incident with Shine and Jennifer Lopez, the shooting.
Yeah, I know about that.
And the limo driver, the driver, as he was driving away from the scene, said that Diddy said to him, "Hey, if I give you this gun, say it's yours."
Yeah.
And throw it out the window.
To the driver.
And to the girl that got shot, that was in the hospital.
Yeah.
She said, "I saw the man that shot me. It was Diddy."
Uh-huh.
But yet, he gets away and Shine does the time.
Right.
So again, it just seemed like from this moment to that moment to the last moment, you are connected to all of these moments where someone's life has been turned upside down and you're attached to it. Yeah, you seem like a shitty human being, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, Diddy filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit against NBC Universal over Diddy, the making of a bad boy. Is that the documentary you're talking about?
No.
This is a different one.
No, this one is called The Downfall of Diddy.
Okay, so he's suing over another documentary.
Right.
Well, look, I have interviewed Diddy. That was the longest conversation we ever had. You know, we've seen each other in passing. I mean, he knows who I am. Obviously, I know who he is. I've been to one of his parties before. It's, you know, it's completely normal. I mean, Amber Rose recently said how she's been like every Diddy white party. There's never been anything improper
Right.
at any of these parties. And you would think that they might include Amber in some of these freak-offs.
But my question was always, is that the party or is there another party after that
Of course,
party?
there's another party after that. You know, Ray J, like I interviewed him recently. He even said like him and Amber like are really close friends, and they would talk about how like if they were freak-offs, they would have probably been invited, but they've never been invited to any of these freak-offs. Like they don't know about them.
Even me and Amber was talking about Amber, like my best friend, Amber Rose. And we doing a podcast together. We doing a bunch of shit together, right? We relate to the same thing. And we both was like, yo, if there was an actual freak off, we would have both been invited. We ain't never got invited to no shit like that. That shit ain't true.
I mean, let me put it like this. If Diddy was found not guilty, I wouldn't be surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised.
And you don't think any of that would have to do with his money, his power?
Of course, the money and the power plays a huge role because he's going to have a dream team that's going to make, you know, OJ's team look like public defenders, right? He's going to throw everything into this. But a lot of this seems like hearsay. A lot of it seems like people where things didn't work out the way they had hoped and now they're mad and bitter about it. Look, Cassie incident was awful in the hallway, but that's past statute of limitations. You can't say he's going to go to jail over that. You can't even do anything about that criminal.
But there's no statute of limitations on morality. You know, it might be in the sense that you can't do anything to him legally.
Yeah.
But morality-wise, you know, that also may tell the story that that's who he's always been.
No, listen, like, if he was really out here raping women and men and so forth, then yeah, I think he gets whatever he deserves. But listen, I've been around Diddy before. Women are throwing themselves at him.
Of course.
Like, I've been at parties with him, and like literally, like, security's keeping these women away. Like,
of course,
this is not Harvey Weinstein, this big ogre that's just like, have sex with me.
But some people, their get off might be using your power to make one feel like a victim. That might be his sick thing. I'm sure Cosby could get free pussy.
Yeah,
but he enjoyed it better with a pill, and you were being unconscious. I say this all the time, man. Because someone is rich and famous and powerful doesn't mean they're not sick.
Oh, yeah.
They could be as sick as the dude who ain't rich and powerful and famous. They just have the advantage of that. But all serial killers and rapists and murderers ain't just, non-famous people.
Well, no. I mean, if you're famous, you probably have more leeway to actually play out some of these sick fantasies. Honestly, because you can cover them up better.
Yes.
And you could pay people off.
Yes.
Joe, the college student, can't pay off, one of his female, classmates after raping her.
Listen, man.
You know what I'm saying? But Diddy can.
I grew up watching my father physically abuse my mother. Okay. And when I saw the documentary, they also, HBO Max did another one on Chris Brown. And, it seemed like, he had a thing for putting his hands on women. And there was some sexual assault allegations with him too. And to me, after I watched the doc, I had the same assessment. Amazing performer, great artist. You're a horrible human being, man. If you think it's okay to physically beat up a woman, and you do that, and you throw in a couple sexual assaults, you're a horrible human being, yo.
Look, what he did to Rihanna was inexcusable. Okay, I get it. But when you look at the story, Rihanna probably punched him in the face probably about 20 times before he ever hit her back. And I get it. He's a man. This is a woman. Keep in mind, Rihanna is not a little girl. Rihanna's like my height with heels. Like I've interviewed her before. I've met her before. And a lot of times these men are being painted as monsters, but you don't really get to see the role the woman has played.
Oh,
see what I'm saying?
Listen.
How many times do you get punched in the face where you finally say, okay, I'm going to hit you back, because I can't take this anymore.
Listen,
but then you can get punched in the face by a woman because he had marks on him as well from that night. You see what I'm saying? But Rihanna was worse off. I get it, but at the end of the day, you have very abusive women out there. I've dealt with them before. You have extremely abusive women out there. And they're always the victims because they're a woman.
Yeah. Oh, listen. I would in no way, shape, or form make an excuse for what my father did because he was wrong.
Right.
But I was also a child, and then once I grew up and I started dealing with women, I was like, "Hey, Pop, you was wrong, nigga." But
let me put it like this, right? Let me put it like this. Did you see the video of this one mother and a child at a Foot Locker? And the child was like, "Oh, I want to buy these Anthony Edwards shoes."
Yeah.
And the mom's like, "No, he don't take care of his kids.
Yeah.
You can't buy those."
Yep, put them back because he don't take care of his kids. Makes sense, right? Get somebody else like John Morant. He take care of his daughter.
And you can tell the kid had this moment. He was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about, but
Right.
You're my mom, so I'm just taking whatever you're giving me as The
Right.
gospel, like, yeah, go get some John Morant's. He takes care of his kids. And
The
it's
same
just
nigga
like,
that had the gun in the club.
right, that guy.
Right.
That guy. Right. And it's like we're getting to see a woman alienating this child's father in real time.
Yeah.
I don't know the story, obviously, right? But you've seen this time and time again where women weaponize their children. They don't let the father see the child, even if he's paying.
Right.
You know, they file all types of bullshit through the court system and drags people in, you know, drag these fathers in. And unless they have a lot of money, they can't pay for the process to even see their kids.
Yeah, it's
And then
fucked up.
what happens? Your daddy ain't shit. Your daddy's a deadbeat. See how he never visits you? See how he never comes by? Yeah, that's because your father ain't shit. That's because your father's lazy and your father this and your father that. They're not telling this child that, no, I actually filed all types of paperwork and everything else like that to make sure your father doesn't come around because I know I'm going to use you to hurt him because I can't hurt him in any other way. How often does that happen and it gets painted as your father ain't shit? You rarely hear the side from the father saying, you know something? Let me explain to you what happened. She filed this, and I wasn't able to see my child, and I tried to file this, but it takes 2 months to go through the court system, and blah, blah, and this was going to cost me $30,000. I didn't have it, so I had to get a cheap lawyer, and blah, 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 and this has been going on for 2 years.
My question becomes this, and men know this, we know this. At what point don't we ever band together and go, let's change the system? We have to fix that. It seems like we know it, but we don't do nothing about it.
We don't do shit. We ain't shit. All of us. The male species.
Ain't shit.
We all ain't shit. We all drop the ball, and we all need to being a father a lot more serious. See what I'm saying? We need to fight the system that I feel is generally geared towards the mother.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, and if we aren't going to do anything about it, then, how can we complain?
Yeah. We get on the internet like this.
Yeah.
And we have pity parties. Were you banned off of Twitter?
Yeah.
How long ago?
I'm still banned off of Twitter.
Still banned off of Twitter. What did you do?
I'm telling you, man, I would go hard against these people that would, talk shit about me. I went hard.
Okay. Then you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like people will leave messages like, I hope your family dies and you're the most anti-Semitic shit I've ever seen. And sometimes I'll just flag those accounts.
Yeah, I play with it now. I play with it. There'll be people that'll hit me up because of the special I did where, I played the gay rapper and I kissed the dude. And they'll go, yo, man, you gay, nigga? And I go, yeah, daddy. And send him a kiss emoji.
You know something? I went on Twitter, right? I went on Twitter and I said, if straight people say no Diddy, gay people say yes Diddy?
That's funny.
And then my man Ace Vane, he's this like internet comedian, goes, no, they say yes Diddy.
Yes, Diddy. Yes, Dad.
I was listening, you have a comedy special on Spotify. And you had this really dope routine where you talk about Jay-Z performing in Africa.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man.
With the rice.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about what you said in that?
Young Hove in the building, and you know I'm nice. I know you're hungry, niggas. Rice. And then I said, Jay-Z is so big, he could fill a stadium in Africa and feed the people.
Right.
So he would have like parachutes, like air packages of food dropped from planes.
Right there.
So right in the middle
During the concert.
During the concert. So he would say that line, Hove, and you know how I'm nice, Africa niggas, rice. And the rice would just
falls.
Oh, the
like
whole
confetti.
lot. Yeah. So he'd feed them during the concert.
They're saying they're just eating like uncooked rice. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
How's your African accent these days? Because I feel like some people have criticized the.
Well, I mean, the African purists.
Yeah.
That a Nigerian can tell when you do an accent if it's not Nigerian versus wherever else. But to the human ear, to the non-African ear, you don't know. You don't know. I can't even name another, like Nigerian, I don't know what's another tribe or whatever. I can't even name another one. But yeah, who the fuck knows that difference?
Yeah, I remember, what was it? Forrest Whitaker was in the first Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
And that was one of the worst African
Well,
accents.
Godfrey made fun of it when he did our podcast, and he would quote the line where he goes,
I think that's the person who actually mentioned it. Yeah. And I went
"The
back and listened
powers
to it.
will be stripped away." Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember I went back, I think after he said something, I went back and listened to it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that don't sound
But before he said
like
something,
an African accent at all.
before he said something, did you?
No, not really.
No.
Yeah, you're not really, because I'm not African.
But again, I my best friend is African, grew up from Sierra Leone, so while he didn't sound African because he was American, born in America, his mother and father was from Africa. So whenever I would go over to their house, they spoke with the thick African accent. And so that's why, like, I made fun of, like, when Will Smith did Concussion. Tell the truth. I was like, nigga, oh, God. And let me tell you something. I've said this, man. What's so amazing, and this is where you have to tip your hat and give your respect due, I don't care how great an actor is, some of the greatest actors to ever touch the screen can't pull off accents. They're so hard. Mm-hmm. Like, I forget the name of the movie. I didn't even know about this movie till I saw it online. Denzel did a movie where he's doing a British accent. Horrific. And Denzel's one of the greatest.
Yeah.
The Mighty Quinn, he does Jamaican. And there was one particular scene where he started Jamaican and bled right into American. It was terrible. They're hard to pull off, man. In my ears, I go, damn, I thought Mel Gibson really sounded Scottish. To a Scot, real Scot, they go, man, that shit was aight.
You know the movie Honora? It just won a bunch of awards recently. Honora is sort of like a Cinderella story, kind of. It's like this female stripper from Brooklyn meets this like rich Russian kid, and they get married right away, and then all this nonsense starts to happen around it and so forth. But like, they had like an all Russian cast of people that I've never heard of, and the fact they were winning Oscars for all this shit was pretty fucking amazing, because it was just a great movie. But it's like, I'm watching this going like, that's a Russian, that's not a Russian. That's a Russian, that's not a Russian.
So
that's
you
not
can
a Russian,
differentiate between who was really Russian and not?
Oh yeah. People, when a non-Russian speaker speaks Russian, I can get it right away. And this is someone who I haven't lived in Russia since I was 5. You know what I'm saying? But I could hear it. I'm like, okay, that's not Russian. I don't know what that is.
Right.
But the fact they had so many Russians in it was like, oh shit, okay, yeah, this is dope. And I think that's what brought the realism to that movie.
Right.
They had a whole bunch of unknowns that were really playing.
When you say they had Russians in it, actual Russian people,
yes,
and you were still going, that's not Russian?
No, but see, but there was mixed in. So for example, the girl was not Russian.
Okay.
So,
but she was doing a Russian accent.
She was speaking Russian a little bit, and I'm like, and they're trying to say, oh yeah, she grew up, Russian with her grandmother. I'm like, there's nothing Russian about her at all. Like this is all, because Russian accents are really hard to pull off, because there's certain sounds in the Russian language that don't occur in English.
Right.
Right? It's like, like my dad's name is Donya, but that first letter is like an L, but it's not really an L. It's like you have to sort of flip the top of your mouth with your tongue. Donya. It's kind of like a D, kind of like an L, but it's neither.
But see, most people don't know that.
Most people don't know that. So an American trying to do a Russian accent, it's hard for them to even make that sound. So the words are all sounding.
So when I do a Russian accent, there are people that, if you're not Russian, will go, yo, that's, and it might not be.
Right.
But
yeah, like for example, I'm really into reggae. I used to DJ for Barrington Levy. I know a lot of Jamaicans. When I heard your stand-up and you're doing the Jamaican accent, I'm like,
it's okay.
Not bad, but not great.
No, yeah.
See what I'm saying? Not bad, but not great.
Right. But to somebody who ain't Jamaican,
right.
They go, yo, that's
right.
Yeah.
But someone who's around Jamaicans,
Right.
like me, for a large chunk of my life, I'm like,
If I want to drink vodka, do I go to Russian bar?
not bad,
Not bad.
not bad.
Okay.
You got to throw it in the wrong place.
Where? Like, give me an example.
I would like it vodka.
I would like it vodka.
Right.
Like it. Oh, like an
I would
it.
like it vodka.
Okay.
The it is not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
But Russians always throw it in there because I guess that's the way.
See, one of the easiest ones for me to do is the Indian accent. Because what is vat? No matter what it is. Where are you going? I'm going to an Indian wedding. Not wedding, wedding.
Vetting.
I'm going to an Indian wedding.
It's interesting. I read an article recently that they're actually, because a lot of these call centers are in India,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't like it because it's hard to understand the people. So they're actually using AI in real time to get rid of accents.
Really?
Yes.
Thank God.
So when you speak to these guys in, New Delhi or whatever, they'll sound like Americans.
Dude, let me tell you something. I'm trying to write a bit right now where, like, whenever I have issues with my alarm company, I call the customer service. And I mean, 99.9% of the time, it's an Indian. Vlad, it takes everything in me not to be a fucking raging racist. Because at one point, I just want to go, sir, here's what they do that's really annoying. To them, they don't think their accent is a problem, so they speak with the same speed that you and I would have a conversation with, which is if your accent is that thick, you gotta slow that down. So I'm like, man, if you don't slow that slow that shit down. Because when you talk at normal speed, all that vat and the vat, I can't understand it. I cannot understand it. Take some of that vat out your mouth, nigga.
Well, you did a very interesting Riddick Bowe impression during that stand-up. And I've interviewed Riddick before.
That's poor black. That's just poor black.
You say
Po to do.
Podadu.
Yeah. You know what? And I didn't make that up. I actually saw him during a fight, after the fight, say that. You know how long I do without po to do? Nigga said po to do, which for those of you, he's trying to say supposed to.
Supposed to do.
Supposed to do. Or supposed to.
Supposed to.
If I do what I'm supposed to, but it came out long I do without po to do.
Yeah, but when I heard it, I'm like, okay. I understood what he's saying.
I know you hang around so many niggas that you just have an ear for nigga vernacular.
I mean, listen, man, I've interviewed people way worse off than Riddick Bowe. Mitch Green?
Oh, well, yeah, you told me. Yeah, he's.
Did I play you a clip?
Yeah, you played that clip for me.
Yeah. It was hard. It was the only
Floyd
interview.
Mayweather Sr.
Yeah. It
was a tough one.
You did a whole thing with him.
Yeah,
as well.
with him too. Yeah. Boy, tell that motherfucker, Floyd. And I tell that motherfucker, and, again,
You put a brrrr.
No, I made that up. That was for comedic purposes.
Well, you also did the whole thing about, you would always wear this shirt to our interviews, which had like a
McDonald's.
retarded, the McDonald's.
Yeah.
But I finally got to hear the bit
Yeah.
that you're referring to.
Yes.
Can you go ahead and do it?
I'm not gonna do the bit.
Well, but just do the
I'm talking about a retarded kid driving in your car and them getting overly excited when they see a McDonald's.
I don't know what it is about McDonald's. Like, as someone with kids,
It's everybody's weakness.
they seem to be obsessed with McDonald's more than any other restaurant on earth.
It's everybody's
And,
weakness.
And I would take them to Jack in the Box, don't care.
Nah.
Taco Bell, whatever.
Well, first of all,
Burger King, blah.
first
There's
of all,
something about McDonald's and those golden arches.
McDonald's has been around forever, before Burger King.
Well, but
it was the first. It was
Okay.
everybody's first.
Yes, but these days they're born into a world where everything is out
No,
at the
but
same
Jack in the
time.
Box is not available all over the country.
Near my house in Calabasas is a Jack in the Box.
California.
You know what I'm saying?
Jack in the Box is huge in California.
Jack
Jack in the Box is
No,
not in.
but what I'm saying, I live in California,
Right.
right? I used to kid around and say, hey kids, do you guys want a sad meal at Jack in the Box?
A what?
A sad meal at Jack in the Box or a happy meal at McDonald's? Like, we don't want the sad meal. I'm like, all right, we'll go to McDonald's. Like,
Even though it's all junk, it feels like Jack in the Box is just a little bit more mature
Yeah.
on the palate than
No, listen,
McDonald's.
the sourdough Jack I like better than any burger at McDonald's. Am I right though? Am I right? Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut from the same cloth right here, baby.
Listen, my favorite burger in terms of fast food, yo, man, give me that triple with at Wendy's, man. That triple with lettuce, the works, with bacon. Wendy's?
I don't think I've ever had a triple burger with bacon ever in life.
Oh, my God. Dude. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, I feel the best fast food burger, I'm not saying you can't compare it to a gourmet burger at a restaurant where they're using Wagyu beef or whatever, but a fast food burger, $5 or less, that comes quickly in a drive-through type location, In-N-Out.
In-N-Out is great. In-N-Out is great, but I'm telling you, man, don't that triple with cheese and bacon at
people like to
Wendy's.
say Five Guys, which is good as
Five
well.
Guys is
Five
smoking.
Guys is very good. Shake Shack is good.
Yeah.
But I think In-N-Out kills all of them.
I'm telling you, the comments gonna be lit.
Go ahead.
In-N-Out is so overrated. In-N-Out.
Nah, In-N-Out is not overrated.
I tell you what's seductive about In-N-Out, that smell. When you drive, like when you go to LAX, when you go to the airport, and I park in the parking shuttle spot to get the shuttle bus, man, you could smell them onions from 4 blocks away. Oh.
Yeah, man, listen, and I feel that there's something also to be said that they have just a tiny menu.
Yeah.
Burgers.
In-N-Out?
Yeah. That's
yeah,
it.
I mean,
burgers,
yeah.
drinks and shakes.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now you could fuck around with the burger, animal
double-double,
style,
or the lettuce for the bun.
instead of this. You
Yeah.
can do a Flying Dutchman where they use the onions as the bun.
Yeah.
You're trying to pull some sort of variety out of this no variety menu, but it's so good that it just works. You go to any other place, oh, we got the mushroom burger this month. Oh, we got this new chicken sandwich. Oh, we got this pancake with a burger in between. And nah, In-N-Out Burger don't do none of that shit.
Yeah.
And in fact, the only time the In-N-Out Burger has ever closed a location was in my city of Oakland.
That's because it's Oakland.
Dudes were just what I remember seeing an interview with the owner. She just said, listen, every day there was some sort of incident. There was a stabbing, a fight, a car getting broken into. Police would take forever to show up.
Sounds about Oakland.
We finally just said the safety of our employees is worth more than this location. And we just, for the first time in the 60-year history of In-N-Out, they actually shut down a location.
Yeah.
Thank you, Oakland. Good job. Good job. Okay? Y'all can even keep an In-N-Out open. The fuck? We got to do better, Oakland. And I used to live in Oakland for 10 years.
In-N-Out was up and gone.
Yeah. Well, a couple people have passed since our last interview. Angie Stone.
Yeah, that was tragic.
Yeah, we did an interview with her maybe about, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Just an epic singer who, there'd probably be no D'Angelo without Angie Stone.
Yeah. Yeah, rest in peace, man.
And at first I thought, okay, well, she used to be really heavy. She's lost weight. Maybe there's some health complications. None of that shit. Car accident. Which got T-boned, I think.
Yeah.
Like her tour bus or her tour van or Sprinter van or something.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, 63 years old. Dwayne Wiggins from Tony.
Yeah, I just saw that one.
He was the one that essentially discovered Beyonce.
Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Didn't know
Yeah,
that.
her dad even spoke about that. This was sort of the first person that really got them, Destiny's Child sort of like in the system musically and connected with labels and worked on their music and everything else like that. I remember even there was this super producer named Jonathan Rodham, JR. He's done a bunch of huge records for like Rihanna and everything else like that. And in fact, that's who discovered him. And he said his first record was for a Beyonce record through him.
Yeah, the only one I really knew about from Tony was the lead singer.
Raphael Sadiq.
Yeah. I didn't really know the other members.
Yeah, man, Oakland boys, man. This hit close to home because I used to remember it feels good.
Yeah.
It never rains in Southern California.
Yeah.
Like they had hits.
Yeah.
They had hits. Gene Hackman passed away.
One of the greats.
You spoke on this.
Yeah, I Did they eventually get around to saying what it was? Because everybody it seemed like it was
all
foul
it was
play.
weird. It was like his wife had some sort of like rodent disease or something. It was like some sort of just flu that came from rodents, I think. And then when she died, I think he had dementia, so that I think there was no one to take care of him. So he died soon after, and yeah, it was just a disaster.
God, getting old stinks.
Yeah, it really does, man. But he left behind some epic work. The French Connection.
Oh yeah, come on.
Mississippi Burning.
Crimson Tide. Superman.
Oh yeah.
Lex
he played Lex
Luthor.
Luthor.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
See, for people like you and me, Gene Hackman was always old.
Ha ha ha.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You never saw a young Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen.
Like you never saw a young Morgan Freeman.
It didn't exist. He was born when he was 50.
I don't know if you've ever saw this movie. If you haven't, look at it. Street Smarts with Morgan Freeman and Christopher Reeve, where he played a pimp.
He played a pimp.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that.
Yeah.
Not the best movie.
Nah, but Morgan was solid though.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was
Morgan's always solid.
Yeah.
But him playing a pimp, I thought was a little far-fetched.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't.
When he smacked that woman and then
Yeah,
broke
I'm
that
saying-
Yoo bottle and was about to cut the
Listen,
other
I
girl.
haven't seen this movie in like 20 years, so I can't
Yeah, go see,
revisit
revisit
Maybe I
it.
got to rewatch it.
Revisit it.
Maybe I got to rewatch
He was the
it.
real deal.
He was the real deal?
Yeah,
Okay.
man.
And Roy Ayers, who did Everybody Loves the Sunshine.
Yeah.
He just passed away
Yeah.
at 84. Same age as my dad, actually.
Mm.
When he passed. Gene Hackman, I think, was in his 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, man, people like to go off this whole, like, oh, man, 40's old, 50's old, y'all old. Like, being old is a gift.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people don't get these gifts.
I'm gonna quote Bill Maher. He goes, give me 60 Sammy Davis Jr. years. I don't want to be 80, 90. Just give me 60 Sammy Davis Jr. years. Let me live like Sammy Davis Jr. lived for 60 years, and I'm good.
That's when he died, when he was 60?
Who?
Sammy Davis.
I think so.
Huh.
Or I don't know how old he was, but he's just saying, let me have 60 of those kind of years.
Yeah. 64.
Okay. Yeah, when you can't enjoy the things that you could enjoy you can't go to a rock concert, you can't drive in a fast car, you can't enjoy anything that requires an adrenaline rush. You ain't skydiving, you ain't scuba diving, you ain't fucking, you ain't eating what you want. When you get to that age, is it a gift anymore?
Yeah, I remember I went to go see Ludell in Vegas performing her residency at Kimmel's comedy club. She was saying about dating old guys. The problem is that they can't take Viagra because it messes with their heart. So she's like, well, do you want to fuck or do you want to live? You can't do both. You gotta choose one. Which one do you want?
That's funny.
Well, man, listen. I mean, but I'm serious though, man. Like, I saw my dad live to 84. He had Parkinson's at the end. That was tough. But man, I've interviewed 20 people who died violently in their 20s and 30s.
I bet you done interviewed motherfuckers while they was dead.
Yeah, I actually did once.
Yeah.
And I've said this, right? I'm going to keep saying this because it's going to happen at one point. Like, if you look at kind of these young dudes on the internet who are talking about like dissing their dead enemies and doing like Fulio was doing music videos in graveyards holding up pictures of people that died, some of which were teenagers and so forth. I feel that the only next logical step to outdo their predecessors is someone's going to dig up a dead body of one of their enemies and make a video out of it. They're actually going to dig it up, open the coffin, and make a video of it. And of course, they'll go to jail afterwards because this is illegal, but it's probably not that big of an offense. I mean, how much do you get for digging up a dead body? Maybe a year or two, They'll feel that going viral is worth it, and they're actually going to do it.
There's no
They're
respect
going to make a music
anymore.
video out of it with an actual corpse.
That's come from an era where you still have there's certain things you respect no matter what.
Well, you know something? You know what's funny, though? You know, on Twitter, a lot of people, because I've talked about my dad before. I'm talking about how my dad died. So people know that my dad died. People know, like, the age he died. People know about Parkinson's. So like, yeah, I'm smoking on Vlad's dad pack. Yeah, I'm smoking on your dead father. And stuff like that. And I remember reading that going like, okay, whatever. This doesn't really make me all that angry. So when people sit there and be like, yeah, I had to kill him because he talked about my dead friend or my dead father or my dead brother. And it's like, I think you just want a reason to do something stupid.
Have you ever interviewed Charleston White?
Twice.
Yeah. Was it a good interview?
Yeah. But then he started talking about raping babies and
he's a wild
he started
boy.
Started talking about, wishes my kids died, and then he started talking about Boosie's kids and everything else like that. So I just basically backed away.
Yeah, he's a wild motherfucker, boy. And some of what he says, I call it evil sense. Some of what he says makes sense, but it's so evil that it's just an evil sense.
I mean, look, like, I understand what he's doing. He says the most, like, abrasive, nasty, line-stepping things they could possibly say. And then he, when people try to retaliate somehow, he'll call the police on them, or he'll actually physically shoot them or stab them or pepper spray them, if they actually try to approach him in his personal space. That works for a certain amount of time until somebody gets a drop on you. And if you want to go that route, well, then that's your choice. It's not a route that I would take. I have security during certain situations, but I don't walk around always looking over my back. I feel like Charleston always has to look over his back. Remember, he got beat up in the barbershop at one point. Like, he got jumped on stage. Like, there's all types of, I remember there's a stabbing incident I saw. Had to pepper spray Soldier Boy because they ran up on him. Like, I purposely don't want to be that. And if he wants to do that and he understands the repercussions of it, that's his business. It's just not what I do.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't think, like, you do comedy, but I don't think you really go out of your way to be purposely hated.
No,
whereas Charleston does, I think.
Yeah, and that, listen, is he funny at times? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's fleeting because of what we're saying. There's no real substance to that. There's no real, at its core, there's no real talent. And when you have real talent and substance, you don't have to rely on gimmicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So even though, I've pushed the envelope, and I've certainly have had people that wanted to fight me and tried to fight me. But, when you know that there's talent there, and I don't mean to come off, cocky, but I've been doing this for 35 years, going on 36. So there's a history, there's talent. I'm a student and a studier of the game. I'm official tissue, man. So I don't have to rely on gimmicks. Now, there are times when, yes, I will, like, for instance, there was this one clip I posted where there was a dude at my show in Indianapolis. He had an oxygen tank and a tube up his nose. I absolutely put the mic cord up on my nose, and I did a joke because he was with his girl. And I said, sweetie, be careful when you fuck him. You might kill him. And then I put the tube, and the orgasm and the tube, and the one person wrote in the comments, it sounds like a chimpanzee is laughing in the crowd. This girl was laughing so aggressively, but it sounded like a chimpanzee the way she was screaming. So, for balls out, balls to the walls moments like that, I'll do that. But I know where the funny is.
Yeah.
I know where the real funny is.
Right. I mean, you're a professional comedian. I mean, Charleston does some comedy, some stand-up, but he's not really a comedian.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. At his core, he's not that.
No, he's not. He's not naturally funny.
He's the uncle at the barbecue that, can hold court when everybody's been drinking and smoking weed, and he'll crack everybody up at the barbershop, but he's not Carnegie Hall.
When you talk about gimmicks, though, like, there has been a lot of huge stand-up comedians that have relied on gimmicks through their entire career. Carrot Top.
No, but be
Gallagher.
careful. I would say Gallagher more than Carrot Top.
Okay.
Because there are people who have said, I'm not one of them, but there are people who have said, listen, man, when you go to his residency in Vegas, he's the real deal. Now, prop comedy is comedy. It ain't my kind of comedy.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just because you're using props doesn't mean it's a gimmick thing.
A gimmick, right.
That's actually part of your trade.
An art form.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That
That's
makes
like
sense.
Jeff Dunham.
That makes a lot of sense.
People might go, puppets, nigga, ventriloquists. But comedically, that's a part of the game. That's an art form.
He's the best puppeteer.
He's the best puppeteer and
right.
could sell out an arena.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was selling out arenas, dog.
As a puppeteer.
But you got to think about it. Family friendly.
Yeah.
Kids, teenagers, grandmothers.
Oh.
Family puppets. Family friendly. So, yeah. So, and I saw a documentary on him, and it was one of those things where, as a comedian, until you might have a lack of respect and go, man, this nigga with the puppets, man. But then when you hear his story and you watch it, you go, you know what? I respect it. I wouldn't do it. It ain't funny to me, but I respect it.
There we go.
You know?
That's what it is. Aries Spears. Make sure you check out the Spears and
Steinberg podcast available on all streaming platforms.
Yes.
And I got to thank you, man, because it's funny. I was in D.C. recently. I did 9 sold-out shows. And my videographer I take him with me on the road, and somebody said, yo, man, you brought Vlad with you? Because y'all favor a little bit. I go, nah, that's my video. He goes, I thought that was Vlad, nigga.
When it comes to the internet, I am every bearded white man. Do you know how many times there's some viral video with a bearded white guy and people are like, yo, is that you, Vlad? I'm always being tagged in every video. People that know me sometimes be like, yo, is this you? Like Esquito was like, yo, this guy in Philly looks like you. I'm not in Philly. Stop it.
Somebody said to me too, they was like, yo, I watch your podcast because of Vlad. Because I see how you always pump it on there.
Yeah.
And I saw you do that, and I said, let me check it out. So, yeah, Spears and Steinberg available on all streaming platforms. Hit me up on Instagram, slide in my DMs. I'll send you the link, man.
That's what it is. Peace.